All right, everybody, welcome back to Premium Picks. Today we are going to give you our early breakdowns for UFC Fight Night, Aspinall versus Tybura. Before we do, like and subscribe as always, and let's get into this fight card. First fight of the night, we got Filho versus Daniel Barez. This is actually going to be an extremely fun fight. I expect a lot of fun scrambles, a lot of good exchanges. These guys are high paced and they're both very exciting. I'm surprised the odds are a pick 'em. Obviously, Barez is good. He is for sure. But Jafel Filho looked amazing against Muhammad Mokaev last fight. He almost pulled off the biggest upset ever. He had that knee bar so deep, Mokaev couldn't even walk out of the octagon after. He had to be carried out. So he looked great in that fight. Give me Filho. Like I said, it's almost pick 'em odds, so I like it. I guess that just shows how much respect is on Daniel Barez here. But give me Jafel Filho to win this fight. What do you think?
Well, both of them are finishing at a pretty good clip here. We're looking at in the 70% range on both guys. It finishes. So that held for the only person with a UFC fight is Filho against Mokaev. And that sort of held true, but that was more of Filo's durability rather than Mokaev's finishing ability. You know what I mean? So both of them had chances to finish that fight. So he looked really good. He looked really durable. Mokaev was just beating him with the wrestling. Daniel Barez, I gotta look a little bit more in the way he takes his guys down and the way he works on his ground game. Both of them look like they have a lot of good submissions, good scraps on the ground. So I think the grappling is pretty much it's going to be a lot of good scrambles. So I'm going to go with Filho minus 125 right now, based on a good fight with Mokaev, having the UFC experience and debutant. Just like how many times have we seen the good looking debutant come in and just not win his first fight, but look good. And then I feel like it's like role reversal. Filho is the Mokaev and Barez is the Filho of this fight of like Filo's last fight. So that's the way I feel like this one's going to be. So I'm going to go with Filho at minus 125. Take a little bit more look at Daniel Barez's wrestling over the course of this week, and then come back with a final pick on Thursday. But for now, I'm leaning Filho.
All right, moving on. We got Bruna Brazil versus Shauna Bannon. Brazil is known for losing as a pretty big favorite against Denise Gomez last time out. But as we've learned, Gomez obviously hits hard because she did it again just 2 weeks ago or whatever. So this is a tough one to predict. There's not a whole lot of tape on Bannon. She's not very experienced, 5-0, fighting over there in Ireland. So we don't really know who she's fighting. We don't know how she's going to look at this level. I mean, to me, I'm looking at her picture here. She looks like Darcy from 90 Day Fiance. So I don't know how much I'm going to be betting on Darcy in a fight. But honestly, I was not impressed with Bruna at all. I almost want to fade Bruna because she looked so bad on the feet last fight. But then I got to remember, she did go 2 rounds with Denise Gomez, who just starched Yasmin there a week ago. So maybe it wasn't quite as bad of a loss as I'm thinking it was. So for me, the fight's a pass right now. Like you just said, wait till Thursday. I'm going to watch more tape and give you my final pick then. The line's a pick 'em, so there's got to be money to made, but I got to watch more tape. What do you think?
I watched a little Bannon. I wasn't impressed. She's decisioning people in Invicta, so that's kind of bad look, to be honest with you, because you should be starching people. Bruna, before she came into the UFC and fought Denise, was starching people on the regional circuit. Sorry, head kick KO, a big head kick KO in Dana White Contender Series. So I feel like there's a lot of recency bias baked into this line. Minus 138. Shauna Bannon's what, 5-0? 5-0 is fucking no experience at all. And I didn't take a fucking deep dive into the people she was fighting, so I don't even know what their combined record is. Usual 5-0 records mean like the guys you're fighting, their records aren't that great, right? I wouldn't say she was probably fighting cream of the crop there. So I feel like recency bias is baked in. This is a get right spot for Bruna. She's got to get right. She was a big favorite, minus 400 in her first fight, and only a minus 138 against a less accomplished fighter than Denise Gomes at this point. Because when Denise Gomes fought her, she had already fought Luma Lokbomi, if I'm correct. So like there was evidence that Denise Gomes was pretty good going to decision with Loma. who is a decent fighter, up there in the rankings. I would say like quite high, but high enough. So yeah, there's recency bias baked in here. Minus 138 seems like a steal right now for someone that's actually been in the UFC, been under the lights. So yeah, I'm leaning Bruna actually pretty heavily right now based on just experience.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I agree. Moving on, we have Brian Barberena versus Mahmoud Muradov. The book's out on Barberena. If you can take him down, you're going to win very easily. The only way Barberena really wins fights is overwhelming you with volume. He's not even a huge power guy. He just if you fade, he's great at taking over. He wins on his own toughness and volume. And you know what? That can only take you so far. I don't think that's going to win him too many more fights in the UFC. So I'm going to take Mahmoud here. And even he's not great. Brian Barberena is, I don't know, he's not good. So I don't see Barberena winning. What do you think?
I'm gonna take Mahmoud here. His last two fights is the one was against Kyle. He's gonna get taken down by Kyle and it's gonna get control because that's what Kyle does. The one against Mearshart, I think he kicked his ass and then just gassed out, right? So and then Mearshart did Mearshart things, right? So the sneaky play here for me personally is Murdov kind of slow in getting the finish, and I like a round three finish because Barberena does stand tough, right? But gets overwhelmed at points in the fight. So sneaky play for me here is Makmar Murdov. He's minus 275. It's not really enticing to me. I think he wins the fight, but whatever the round three prop, because he's finished two or three fights in round three, and so his power carries through, and Barberena is slightly tough. So he should make it to round two or three. A round two or three prop, if you're getting good money on that, that's where I put my money on this fight.
All right, moving on. We got Ketlin Vieira versus Pani Kianzad. I actually think it's a fairly close fight. I don't love the line because I do lean Vieira. She's been in there with big fights. She got the rub against Holly Holm. She probably didn't win that fight, but she got the rub. She's been in there with lots of fighters. I believe didn't she beat the crap out of Misha Tate?
Yeah,
Or am I wrong?
she beat the crap out of Misha Tate.
Yeah, beat the crap out of Misha Tate. So I think Vieira's going to win on just being this thick, plodding, fucking physical beast of a woman because that's what she is. But she's not super fast. She's not super technical by any means. But she always looks like the bigger fighter to me. When I look at her, she looks big. So give me Vieira to win, probably on points, or if she's going to get a finish, it's going to be late. But I like Vieira. What do you think?
Give me dog or pass here on Penny Kianzad. Just because I think Penny is actually like stylistically the better striker here. Like, so she's got to keep the fight off the ground. I feel like if the fight stays standing, Penny's got a really good chance of plus 170, what she's sitting at now. So we know this fight's going to be close. We know this fight's probably going to go later, and it's going to probably go to decision. Now, Yana Santos beat Ketlin Vieira off the bottom. I believe Vieira took her down 3 times, and she was beating her from the bottom, but she would do nothing with it on top. Then she beats Misha Tate handily. Then she did not beat Holly Holm in a fight where I lost money, a decent amount of money, where Holly Holm actually controlled her for most of that fight, and then lost to Raquel Pennington. So, like, you looking at Penny Kianzad, like she only has the 2 losses, one to Julia Avila, which was a few years back. So, in recent memory, she's only lost to Raquel Pennington too, as well. She's beaten Sajara Eubanks, Alexis Davis, and Lena Landsberg as well. Not great, but just on the same level. Aside from the Holly Holm where Ketlin got the rub, the people she's fighting are just on the same level as Ketlin. So her striking is better. Ketlin's a plotter. She's going to take her down, and if Kianzad can't get up, she'll lose the fight. If she can stay off the ground, she wins the fight. Plus 170, too wide. That's the way I break it down.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, I said I didn't like the odds.
Yep.
I just lean Vieira, but yeah.
I mean, there's a path there, right? Like you said, like the grappling path is there. but the striking path is not there because Vieira cannot strike with her. I don't think so. At least I don't think so.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We have got, I'm sorry, my computer just dropped here for a second. We got Danny Roberts versus Johnny Parsons. Should be a decent fight. I think they're gonna bang it out mostly. Give me the over 1.5, but I could see the fight doesn't go the distance, to be honest. What are you thinking here?
I mean, what Hot Chocolate lost the decision to Trinaldo and then lost to Jack Della. Not too bad, but he beat Ramazan Ameev and Amadayev. Right before that, lost to Pereira and Claudio Silva. So not bad losses on hot sauce. Johnny Parsons, though, I remember watching him on the Contender Series there, and he beat Solomon Renfro by a split decision, and he didn't look that great. So this is a debutante fight. So yeah,
I'm trying to find odds here. Sorry, I've been looking down here. I'm trying to. I don't see any odds. Is this?
Yeah, they're not on here. The odds aren't on here. So I'm gonna think hot chocolate. Sorry, is the favorite because Johnny Parsons is coming in off the Contender Series a while back there too. So it's been a while. So I think hot chocolate should win based on just the sheer amount of UFC experience that he has on this guy. He lost to Trinaldo and he lost to what's his name? His last fight, Jack Della. That in itself is way better fights than Parsons has ever seen in his fucking entire life, right? So
and Danny Roberts showed toughness there, man. He took a fucking beating.
He did, and he could have pulled off that Trinaldo fight. That was close too, right? So it's not like Trinaldo ran away with that. So yeah, give me hot chocolate.
All right, moving on. We got Chris Duncan versus Yanal Ashmouz. Give me Yanal here. He debuted that last fight. He took down that tall, lanky Zuckerberg looking fucking guy, and he pounded the living shit out of him. Fucking fantastic win. He looks funny. He looks small and kind of squirrely eyed and shit, but obviously his power is legit. This guy bangs, man. And Chris Duncan, obviously, it looks like he's a banger as well. I think this is going to be a very fun, violent fight. Somebody is going down, and I think it's going to be fast. I think the way Yanal fights, I think he's a cannon. So I expect a very fast fight. One of them is going to go down. Give me Yanal by knockout under 1.5. That's what I got. But I don't blame you for fading him either. But that's my pick. What do you think?
Well, I thought it was the real deal against Sam Patterson in the first place when they fought, right? So I was on him that night I didn't know he was going to beat him in such a clear, decisive way. But yeah, Chris Duncan, he lost similarly to a striker, Borishev, Contender Series fight, I believe it was. Borishev knocked him the fuck out. And Duncan wrestled him in that first round, and the gas tank didn't seem to be there. And if you can't take down Borishev, then you can't beat Borishev, right? So that's just the way it goes. So it feel the same way here too. Like he's not going to take down you. I don't think he's taking down you now, right? From everything I've seen in his last tape study to now. So yeah, Yanel's a little firecracker. I'm going to go with the firecracker in this. I wasn't impressed by Duncan's split decision win over Omar Morales in his first fight in the UFC. Relooked at that one. Not impressed by that at all. He did win that fight because Omar Morales is the worse fighter than Chris Duncan is, because his fight IQ is just like, oh man, I'm not going to do enough to win, but I should win, but I'm not going to do enough to win. But Yanel doesn't he's not going to let him stand there.
He's not even going to give you time to think, man.
No, he's not going to let him stand.
Fight.
He shouldn't let him stand there. Because that's what Sam Patterson had, 18 inches of reach on him, the ground game, the whole entire thing. And he fucking found that face. I feel like the same thing's going to happen here.
I agree. Moving on, we got Mark Diakese versus Joel Alvarez. I like Joel Alvarez here. And surprisingly, the line is like a pick'em. I think Mark is extremely boring, like next level boring, like borderline, you got to cut this guy boring. Friggin' Obviously, he's an absolute unit of a man. He looks like an absolute specimen, but he doesn't fucking do anything. So I don't even think his wrestling's that great. Like I truly don't. Like he comes across as like this wrestle puncher or something like that, but he doesn't throw anything. And I don't trust him. I don't trust guys like that don't do anything. Give me Joel Alvarez. He's been in there with everybody. He's got a close loss to Ismagulov. He's beaten Thiago Moises. He's been in there with everyone. I think Joel Alvarez gets this done here. I think he's the more savvy, experienced fighter, better IQ. I don't trust Mark. That's just me. I like the odds, but what do you think?
I don't trust Mark either. Mark only wins when he can take you down and just like hold you there. Apparently, he came into some like big time power puncher into the UFC, but I haven't seen that. Joel Alvarez should actually probably have the cleaner striking here. In my opinion, people say that he's not technical, but he looks not bad on his feet. And if he got taken down, he's shown in several UFC fights. If I go back and look at his record, him being taken down in this and putting like submissions on like Joseph Duffy and Alexander Yakovlev, those were a result of people trying to take him down. So he's going to fight off of his back just as well as he's going to fight coming forward. So diakese wants to try this bullshit of taking him down. He's not going to sit there like Borishev. He's not going to just be like a fish out of his back on the ground. So, like, you can't just take that's not your game plan, diakese, because the striking game plan is non existent. He lost to Michael Johnson pretty fucking soundly, right? And that's because Michael Johnson could dictate if that fight was going to go down or is going to go up. So, Joel Alvarez is the more well rounded fighter. So, I always pick the more well rounded fighter. Is he at least a slight favorite on this one?
Buddy, I think it's like a minus 120 or something. It's almost a pick 'em.
It's minus 140. So it's not bad. He should at least he's the start. Like he's the he is the favorite because he should be.
Yeah, I think he's good value. Honestly, I like that line.
Yeah, me too.
All right, moving on. We got fan favorite Davy Grant facing Daniel Marcos. Marcos 14-0, relatively unknown. So I think a lot of people are going to go at first glance, Davy Grant, Davy Grant, Davy Grant. I've been a big Davy Grant fan in the past. I mean, I'm still a fan. I don't turn on my fighters. I've bet on him many times. I won a lot of money on him against that Rafael Assunção, but I really shouldn't have. He was losing that fight pretty handily. He didn't look good. He scored that crazy inverted triangle in the last like 30 seconds of the fight or whatever. Maybe the last 10 seconds. I don't remember the time, but I remember it was down to the wire. He was about to lose that fight. So it wasn't a good look. And then we got this undefeated newcomer coming in with a ton of hype. And on top of that, I'm reading all kinds of things, red flags on Davy Grant that says he's opened up a restaurant. He's not really training. They're saying his head's not in it. He's ready to retire. He's thrown around that word a few times. So that makes it very difficult for me. I don't want to turn on my boy. I mean, I've always liked Davy, but everything I'm reading and my head's just saying he didn't look good last fight. I think this Marcos guy might get it done. I got to watch more tape. Thursday, I'll give you my final pick, but I think this Marcos guy is going to be live here. What are your thoughts?
I'm leaning to Marcos because he's got the one fight in the UFC against Simon Oliveira. He knocked him out with the knee to the body, I think it was. Is it knee to the body? Double check here. I'm remembering this fight in my head. Knee to the body. Tell me. Yeah, knee to the body, and then follow-up punches. David Grant, like you're saying, like is so low volume. He doesn't come with any volume. He was actually losing the striking exchanges to Rafael Assunção in that fight, but like handily losing the exchanges to. Not you're like, oh, it's like a 2-for-1 or something. No, this was like probably a unanimous decision if that fight didn't get finished with that crazy submission. He's tough son of a bitch, right? So he's not going to go down, but this Daniel Marcos guy should have the volume on him and should have the cleaner striking and is the way younger fighter. And minus 125, if Marcos is actually the real deal, is going to look like a gift in future fights for Daniel Marcos. So I don't know, man. I'm going to roll with the young kid on this because he's not coming in as a debutant. He's coming in with a little bit of UFC experience. So he's been under the lights. And Davey, before the last when he went on those few wins, he had lost a few in a row, and like that's just the type of fighter he is. He's never going to be cream of the crop. So give me the young kid. Give me Daniel Marcos to stay undefeated.
And he's talking about retirement, man. It's a red flag. I
I
think David
hate
Grant's
that talk. Remember when I said that about Chad Mendez, and you're like, no, 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 like he's gonna win.
telling you.
I'm like, when fucking they bring up that word, they fucking lose, man.
Yeah, I think David Grant's in trouble here, but we'll reevaluate that Thursday. But I think he's in trouble. Moving on, we got Michael Parkin versus Jamal Pogues. This should be a fun scrap. Parkin 6-0, 5 knockouts, 1 submission, all finishes, so that should be exciting. And he's an underdog to the more experienced Jamal. Jamal's not quite as exciting. Half of his fights are decisions, half of his fights are finishes. But neither of them are great either. So I think a low level fight like this, I think we're going to see a finish here. So I like fight doesn't go the distance. And it's basically, are you betting on the newcomer? Or are you going to go on Jamal's experience? The line is very even, so it's going to be hard to say. You know what? Everyone's going with Jamal or whatever. I'm going to stab the dog. No real confidence. I'm going to look more into it again. But give me Parkin for his 7-0 7th finish. But it wouldn't shock me if the line stops here either. Like, he's not great by any means. He's really not. But what do you think?
I haven't been able to look into his takedown defense as much as I'd like to. So that's where this fight's going to be won. Pogues didn't finish Parisian, and he probably should have, because that's what people do to Josh Parisian. But yeah, he just took him down a ton of times, controlled him, and all that good stuff, right? So kind of like Carl Williams, that's how he fights Jamal Pogues, the same thing, right? Been able to wrestle guys for his entire career. Looks like he does a lot of decisions for that weight class. So that's a little out there, you know what I mean? So anyway, I feel like right now, off the minimal tape I have run on both guys, Parkin's more of a KO bar bust sort of guy, right? But he did have that submission in Dana White's Contender Series, so he does have some grappling as well. But does he have the defensive wrestling? Because we know Pogues is going to come after him with the wrestling. So I'm going to take a look into it and if he can pull off a wizard, or if he keeps off the ground, or if no one's actually even attempted. Like, because Pogues is going to attempt takedown after takedown in this fight. He's not going to want to stand with this guy. If he stands with Parkin, I think he gets knocked the fuck out. If he takes him down and controls him. So I'm going to go outside the box right now. I see the control and the decision for Pogues, like he has been doing lately. So I'm going to go with that. But I got to look at Parkin's look in depth on his takedown defense and take a look at that, because that's where this fight's going to be won.
And I mean, Parkin fighting out of the UK, he might not even had to defend any takedowns yet. We
Right.
really
We don't know, right? So this might be just red flag central, right? But I'm gonna have to look at it a little bit more. I never saw in the few couple fights and clips I've seen of Parkin fights, I haven't seen any wrestling involved. And I know Pogues is gonna come out with the wrestling.
Oh, 100%. All right, moving on. We got one of the funnest fights of the night. We got Andre Muniz versus Paul Craig. These guys are both absolutely insane on the ground. So it'll be interesting to see whether they scramble and whether they get a submission, because that's the game they like, or whether they cancel each other out and they bang it out. It'll be interesting. Muniz, rightfully so, he's the favorite. He probably should get this done. However, he gassed so bad last fight and got tapped out by Brendan Allen. Now, don't get me wrong. Brendan Allen's a great fighter. I'm not saying that's some terrible loss, but you would have never guessed in a million years that he would get tapped out. Like, that was crazy. And we're talking about a guy who broke Jacare's arm. Like, this guy's insane on the ground. So for him to get tapped out, it was for me, it was wild to see. And then you got Paul Craig, who's all nasty on the ground too, extremely lanky. I don't know if Paul Craig's coming down in weight or Muniz is going up, because I know one's a middleweight and Paul Craig's a light heavyweight. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I think I'm going to guess Muniz is going up, because I can't imagine Paul Craig getting lighter. I mean, the guy's
So it's at middleweight. It's at middleweight. This fight's at middleweight. That's what Sheerdog says.
Jesus, I can't imagine Paul Craig fucking cutting that much weight, man, because the guy's massive.
Yeah.
But but I don't see this working out for Paul Craig, to be honest. I think Muniz gets it done. If you want a safe play, it's not going the distance. These guys are both finishers, so someone's getting finished. Whoever, whatever side you're on, you take them to finish the fight for better value. What do you think?
I like Andre Muniz as well. I think their grappling sort of like, Paul Craig's a good grappler. Both striking suck. Paul Craig striking sucks, Muniz striking sucks. Whereas the differential here is Muniz, I feel, has better wrestling because Paul Craig's always gotten his submission wins, and he's got a lot of them over a lot of good guys.
The triangles.
Oh yeah, but they're always like in scrambles or off his back, or it's never something set up, right? So we got to remember that Muniz, all these wins before this last Brendan Allen fight, were always Muniz like controlling the fight. So I'm not going to take the one little speck on his record and flip him upside down like he sucks or whatever. You know what I mean? It was one blemish. And like you said, he gassed really hard. Maybe he had a bad weight cut. Maybe there's something else going on because he's never looked like that. And he's gone 3 rounds before with Uriah Hall and controlled Uriah Hall and controlled the fight. But maybe it's because Brendan Allen showed a little bit of resistance, right?
And shockingly, Andre actually looked really good on the feet to start that fight. He was winning the striking for the first round and a half until he gassed.
Yeah, he's the better fighter here. He has the better wrestling and slightly better strike. Well, he's got the better striking because Paul Craig sucks at striking. Paul Craig is great at scrambles and he'll win fights. He's dog ass. He's dog, right? But
I love Paul Craig though, man.
He's just not good.
He's so one dimensional. The cat's out of the bag. Everyone knows fucking don't follow this guy into his guard, although Muniz probably can. But I'll always love Paul Craig's win over Jamal Hill. He kind of like snapped his forearm, had him in the triangle, was also hitting him with the hammer fist. Like,
Paul Craig. Sick. Oh, you can just keep talking about Paul Craig over Ankalaev at 459.
Ankalaev, Krylov.
At 459 in the third. How do you Yo, Ankalaev's so dumb. You go out before you tap at 459, you ass. Like, oh, whatever. Next fight.
Also, just full disclosure too, Paul Craig's face-offs are fucking intense. I love his face-offs.
Yeah, he's always got that face paint on and fucking Scottish. My wife's Scottish, so I know how these people get crazy. So it's yeah. He's a crazy boy.
We'll go on to the next fight before you get in trouble. Mm-hmm. All right, moving on. We got Nathaniel Wood versus Andre Fili. Fan favorite Nathaniel Wood should win this fight. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but these UK cards, they've been notoriously setting the UK fighters up to win. The last UK card they had, all 5 swept the board. They all said, oh, parlay them all because they're all winning. They're setting them up to win. They're setting up that stadium to go berserk. So Nathaniel Wood should win here. Should be probably the better striker, and he should be able to be on top if it goes to the ground. He should be able to be avoid any submissions. I like him most likely decision, or I mean maybe he knocks him out, but I don't know. But regardless, Wood should win this fight. What do you think?
Yeah, whenever Andre Fili gets any of a step up in competition to like well-rounded fighters, he always like drops the ball, right? You know what I mean? Drop the ball against Joe Anderson Brito. Drop the ball against Bryce Mitchell. Got controlled. Sadiq Youssef outstruck. So you know what? I feel like he's just gonna get out controlled by Nathaniel Wood in every facet, just a better, well-rounded fighter. Nathaniel Wood, I would fair to say, is the better technical striker. Nathaniel Wood will probably be the better wrestler. Fili does still work out at Alpha Male, doesn't he? That's where he comes out of.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so he should still at least have some ground game on him. I feel like the ground games actually are gonna shut each other down. It's gonna be a striking matchup, and I'm gonna go with Wood on the striking side of things because I've seen Fili get outstruck before. I've also seen him get taken down before, but that was Bryce Mitchell, so I'm not gonna hold that one too much. So yeah, I mean, there's not much here for me. I was on Wood before. I'm still on Wood now. I think he's the better fighter. There's nothing.
He's just more well-rounded.
I don't know. Well-rounded is such a weird word to say too. He's just way more technical. I've seen so much more from him, right? So much more diversity. from Nathaniel Wood than I have seen from Andre Fili.
All right, moving on. We got another hometown boy. We got Lerone Murphy versus Joshua Culibao. Obviously, Culibao pulled off that crazy comeback against Bagdasarian last time out. Lerone Murphy, he's had a few poor performances, actually, if you ask me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think was it Santos or something he fought? And that Santos guy is a hell of a fighter. Very
Yeah,
fun.
but he ended up losing that fight, which is actually a bad look for fucking Lerone on that one, man.
He lost that fight, but it was another firefight. Like I still like Santos. He's a fun, exciting fighter. But Murphy, he kind of to me, he's kind of slow, kind of gassy. Doesn't really do enough. I think he wins just because he's so big and so strong. Like I think he'll be able. I think it's the same thing here. I think he's gonna win, and I think he's gonna look bad winning. I think he's gonna win by getting a couple takedowns and being on top and getting some control time. But I think Culibao is going to sting him with some shots on the feet, get taken down, and probably lose from being on the bottom. I think Lerone Murphy is almost like just the better, stronger athlete. I don't really like his fighting style very much, and I think he's due to lose, to be honest. But I do think he'll win by being much stronger here. So I'll pick him to outbully Culibao in a fight where once again he doesn't impress. That's what I think. What do you think?
He is due to lose, though, man. I'm just looking back here. It's a split draw with Tukugov, beats Ricardo Ramos, decent fight. Ricardo Ramos he beats Douglas, beats Americani, which is actually a step down from Douglas, and beats Santos. But Kulibao's no slouch here, man. He's on a 3-fight winning streak, and it's 3 fights against Nurembeke, who's not bad, Siwoo Choi, who's not bad, and then Melsik, who's not bad, right? So those are 3 good wins, and his only real loss. Remember, he was such a big underdog to Charles Jourdain, and he pulled out the draw split because he fucked Jourdain up in that first round. And the only real loss he's ever had was to Jalen Turner, who was, a giant at this division. So, Kulibao's been holding his own. You know what gets me about Lerone Murphy is that he's so damn low volume sometimes. That's what almost got his ass kicked to the Santos guy, because he was so low volume in that fight, man. Like, but he puts together some great combinations. Boom. You know what I mean? So it's like great 1-2s, great 1-2-3s.
He carries too much muscle, man. I think he carries too much muscle and he can't keep the pace.
Right. So he paces himself to a point. So like I can fucking see Culibao
Coming from behind.
Yeah. But again, I mean that Melsik fight, the Melsik fight was like Culibao was getting beat up, and then he got the submission there, right? You know what I mean? But the other 2 fights he did control Choi and Nurembeke, who are decent fighters as well. So I mean, this one I don't think is as cut and dry. And if David Grant, I mean not David Grant, sorry, if Lerone Murphy was good as he said he was supposed to be, why the hell is he only minus 160 in this spot?
Because he's not that good.
Right. So the minus 160's got me thinking, right? Plus 130 on Culibao. I
wait to see what the line does. If the line moves,
yeah, I'm 50. I'm gonna go dogger pass. I'm scared because it's in England, but like I'm gonna go dogger pass because I think Culibao has a shot here. I really do think he has a shot here. And he's got 2 fighters that are on winning streaks going up against each other. And Culibao is a dog too, so he's not gonna just like stand there and like let Lerone pump his face. So, and I feel like Josh can use the ground game here because Lerone Murphy has been taken down on numerous occasions, on numerous fights. So it's not like Lerone Murphy is some sort of takedown defense, like cheat code or anything like that, because he's not. So
I think the over is going to be a good play too, because I think Murphy will win the first round, but then he might gas out. And if he loses, he's going to lose late. And if he wins, it's probably by decision. So I like the over too.
I like the over too. I like the over. Now you bring it up.
All right, moving on. We got the featured fight. We got Jai Herbert versus Fares Ziam. This is a very tricky fight to predict. Jai Herbert, obviously, hell of a striker. He's got a lot of snap in his punches, a lot of snap in his kicks. Everybody knows, he's famous for getting knocked out viciously to Topuria, but Ilia Topuria is a hell of a fighter. So no.
He dropped him. He dropped him in the first round.
Oh yes, he did. Oh yes, he did. And then you got Ziam, more well-rounded. He's if there's going to be a submission, it's going to be he's good at snatching subs. He's not a bad striker either, and he's never been finished himself, or he has been choked. McKinley, I think, choked him
Yeah,
out.
McKinney choked him out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Terrence, yeah. But other than that, like I've never seen him knocked out. He's a pretty tough guy. This fight's very hard to predict for me. I really, really like Jai Herbert, so I'd like to see Herbert get it done. I struggle. I like I said, I think Herbert's more one-dimensional. I didn't think he looked great last fight against that Ludovic Klein. I thought he lost that fight. I think it was scored a draw.
Mm-hmm.
This is a tough one. I don't blame you for choosing either. I like Herbert. I hope Herbert wins. Right now, I can't even tell you who I pick. Fuck it. I'm going with my boy. Give me Jai Herbert, and I'll give you my final pick on Thursday. But I wouldn't be betting big on this fight, that's for sure. What do you think?
Well, I think John Herbert, I said the only way he loses this is if he gets taken down, right? So like Ziam, he had a couple takedowns against Malarkey when he first came in. I think it was his first fight and where he got that gift decision to Malarkey where he should have lost to Malarkey, to be honest with you. And Jai Herbert had Trinaldo on the ropes and then got TKO'd in the third round. He was actually winning that fight too. I believe there was a fence grab in that last fight, and is why it was a draw. So like he's winning these striking exchanges in a lot of these fights. So I'm gonna go with Jai Herbert because I think his takedown defense is gonna stand up, and I think he's got more power on the feet. And Ziam, I don't know if he's gonna get floored, but he might get knocked down in this fight. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Jai. I'm gonna go with on the basis of him keeping the fight standing, and yeah, outboxing for CM.
All right. I mean, I like it. I hope he pulls it off. Herbert's always exciting, so I'll be rooting for him. Moving on, we got the co-main event. We got Molly McCann versus Julija Stoliarenko.
Just call her Stoliarenko.
Yeah. Oh shit. So, guys, Molly McCann, if you don't recall, she retired. She retired. She got her ass kicked by Aaron Blanchfield, who has turned out to be the real deal. And she retired. She threw her gloves down. She said she's done with MMA. She's got other things going on in her life, and she's back. You know why she's back? Because she's got a give me opponent here in the UK. I'm sure they called her and said, "Hey, Molly, you want to come win a super easy fight in front of your hometown, make a bunch of money, and get the crowd going?" So this fight's going to be a slam dunk. Molly's going to win this fight. Probably Patty Pimblett will show up. They'll probably fucking dance around the octagon like they always do. And you know what? If there was a bet that Patty Pimblett shows up in the octagon with her, I would take that bet too. He's going to show up. Molly's going to win this fight. The building's going to erupt. So give me Molly McCann by knockout. I mean, just give me Molly McCann, but I'm going to say she probably pounds her out. But Molly's set up to win this fight. She wouldn't come out of retirement if it wasn't a slam dunk. What do you think?
Stoliarenko's one chance in this fight is to grab an armbar. She is a armbar specialist. Her only fight win in the UFC is by an armbar, I believe. And so, like, if Molly McCann doesn't get armbarred, she will win this fight. It couldn't be more handpicked for her than this. I mean, but minus 350 on Molly McCann is a scary fucking bet. But here, I feel like it's warranted. Like Stoliarenko's got one path to victory, and it's an armbar. It's not even grappling because she's not going to take her down. It's going to be some armbar from guard. That's what it's going to be. If it's an armbar, it's armbar from guard because it's not going to be her taking armbar, getting on top, and then the tapping her. Not a chance. So minus 350, I feel like is a gift for Molly McCann, and I'm gonna cry because I'll put it on some stupid parlay. She's so dumb, such a dumb broad sometimes. Like, oh my god, fight IQ off the charts, but in a bad way. So fight set up for her. You don't come out.
Molly's gonna win.
Yeah, you don't come out of retirement, fight in the UK against an inferior opponent. No, minus 350 is high, but like I guess it could be higher.
I don't even think it's that high, man. I swear to God, like
No, I said that it could be higher. It could be
you
higher.
parlay a bunch of these UK fighters together. I think you're going to be safe. There's some safe ones for sure, and I think Molly is definitely one of the safe ones.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. The main event, we got Tom Aspinall versus Marcin Tybura. Tom Aspinall is coming back after that freak leg injury to Razor Blades, Curtis Blades there. To be honest, I think Blades was going to knock him out. But you know what? It's not fair to say that would have happened for sure. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he checked the leg. His leg went down, blew his knee or something. I don't know, some kind of bad leg injury. He's back. And I don't think he could have a more favorable matchup because I think he's a way better striker. And Marcin Tybura, the only way this guy wins, and he does win, he pulls out wins out of his ass, but he wins by leaning you on the cage, maybe getting a takedown here and there. He wins by grappling. He's not the better grappler than Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is a very high level grappler. So the submission advantage, Tom Aspinall. The striking advantage, Tom Aspinall. And Tybura, even if there was a slim chance that he could grind on the cage, he's the smaller guy too. So I see no path at all for Marcin Tybura here. So as long as Tom Aspinall's leg doesn't blow out, I think Tom Aspinall rolls here. And once again, the building explodes. The UK fans are having the greatest night of their life. And we all smash our UK parlays. That's what I think happens here. What do you think?
I think this is as close to a lock as you can get to a lock on this card. He's got him beat everywhere. If the Tom asked, he might have actually beat Curtis Blades. He looked better. He looked better than I thought he would against Blades in that little bit of time that he was out there. Like I thought Blades was just gonna roll on him, right? But think about it this way: like that fight against Volkov, he completely fucking dominated fucking Volkov. And then I'm using MMA math here, but I'm not using that as the basis of my pick. So Volkov fought Tybura, and Volkov looked like shit. That went to like a 3-round decision for Volkov. But Volkov recent fights has looked better than what he looked like against Tybura, to be honest with you. So, but like you said, Aspinall, the ground game is where Tybura usually that's where he wins fights because he can't strike. So can't strike with Aspinall. And I don't think he's taking him down. Wallenstall, like you said, might be his only option. But is Tom really going to stand there? When have we seen Tom Aspinall just stand around and just get controlled on a fucking cage? He doesn't even do that. Even in did he fight? No, but he just doesn't do that. I see no path to victory for Tybura. I feel like this is Tom Aspinall. You lay the minus 450 or you take him inside the distance because it's probably going to happen inside the distance. You know what I mean? Yeah. He fucking killed Spivak, who looked pretty good. Killed Volkov, who looked pretty good. Arlovsky, he's got everything. He's faced the better punchers. He's faced the better grapplers. And he's finished them all.
Yeah, no, honestly, I'm over here.
She could have taken that. Like, from what I've seen in Blades, like, over the last few fights, who knows? Tom Aspinall might have won that fight, too. You know, we've never seen his... No, I'm not even going to look at the other side on this one. I know Tybura, what type of fighter he is. He's a grinder. He's not grinding out fucking Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is close to a lock as we can get.
He's a lock, man. He's a fucking lock.
Yeah,
I'm literally over here toying with parlays with Aspinall and McCann and all of them because I'm like these two are gonna win.
I feel like those two have to win and then just mix it up after that, right?
Throw in Joel Alvarez over Mark. He's only a minus 140. Throw him in with those two. You got a plus 220, and I think that those three are winning.
Man, that's good. So that's it. So like use your basis, use Molly McCann and use Tom Aspinall, and then throw in the close odds, but keep mixing them up, right? And just keep mixing them up, and then you keep doubling your money, man. It's the name of the game, right? Double your money.
That's right. All right, guys, these are the early predictions. If you're new to this channel, we always give an updated final picks on Thursdays. So look out for Thursday. You'll have our final picks. We're going to watch a lot more tape. We're going to do our due diligence, and we're going to come correct. We're going to give you our final picks. We're going to give you our final bets. The props will be out by then, so we can take a look at the props that we like that are live. As always, please like, please subscribe. We'll see you Thursday, and we'll break down this card again.